Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is Steven for Legendary Garage Sale Finds, and thank y'all for tuning in. So I guess I should technically say Happy New Year, even though it's already halfway through February. But 2026 has been pretty busy and spectacular with all the amazing estate sales, garage sales, and flea market finds thus far. So the estate sale you're about to see was the first one I went to on the very first weekend of 2026 actually. And I went solely based on two words: vintage toys. There were no other pictures or descriptions for this estate sale. I even called the company and asked what they had, and they just said they had a lot. So I took the time to show up and be first in line, not knowing what to really expect, and well, you'll see what I picked up. Toys.
Yeah.
Awesome. Look at that. Let me go. What is that? Tonka Man. What that is. That's kind of cool. How much is it? Pieces got in here. So this estate sale was built as a 60s and 70s time capsule house full of a lot of great vintage items, but I made a beeline for the toy room, and everybody saw what I picked up. Amazing stuff. First up, we have Hasbro's 1985 Jetfire from the Transformers line. Try to get a little bit of the condition on here. A little bit of beat up around the cockpit, but other than that, it's in really good shape. Now, I know a little bit of history about this particular figure, because if you know anything about Transformers, they're all just renamed Japanese toys suited for the American kids. And rather than being Diaclone or Microchange, this figure was pulled from the Macross, or Robotech as I knew it, Veritech line. My brother had the Macross version of this figure actually growing up, which was, I think, green. And I want to say the main difference between this one and that one is the gun he had shot little rockets out. But that was much later on, if I'm not mistaken. But what I found very interesting looking at this figure is, I think that's the Macross symbol on the wing still. But they have the big Autobot symbol on the front. But it's still an amazing find, especially at $20 that I picked it up. I haven't really wanted to transform it into a plane, because I didn't want to take a chance messing something up, because I remember my brother's figure being very fragile and it fell apart. But this thing is pretty awesome, and it was just one of a few great pickups in this estate sale. Next up, so I'm gonna pick up a few bags of miscellaneous items, and going to an estate sale, everybody knows they're just kind of, how much is all gonna cost? And when I saw the prices on these bags, yeah, it was a no-brainer. So the contents of this bag was $6, and I'm gonna lay it all out for everybody to see. And the contents of this bag, as you can see, was $5. So I'm going to lay all this stuff out so you can get a good grasp of everything I picked up at a purely amazing deal. So let's take a look. Okay, everyone. So here's everything that was in this $6 bag from that estate sale. Immediately, my eyes go to this beauty right here. We have the Gen 1 Soundwave with this instruction manual and this little data card thing. Also, one of the little red filaments was in there, so you can see their little attributes. He's incomplete. Unfortunately, I do not have the cassette that's supposed to come with them, but I did get these few accessories, one launcher and 2 rockets. And here we have an incomplete Starscream, missing one of the launchers and all the rockets, unfortunately. Again, also missing the fists. But I did get his data card. And I do believe I have Blue Streak right here. Although, I guess the color is faded in time. But I do got a rocket launcher and his weapon, instruction book, and his little data card. I don't remember the name of this little guy. We've got a little Autobot here and what turned out to be a GoBot. I think this is Handcuff, if I'm not mistaken. Nice little die cast. Not sure what these little pieces are here. And we have 2 of the Transformers. I always called them roster checklists. It's got all of the bots you could get in the Gen 1 line. And some random pieces right here. I don't know whose cape this is, but we got a little vintage minifig astronaut and a weapon from the Masters of the Universe Grayskull accessories line. One of the weapons from the armory. And here we have the data card for the missing cassette. But by far the best part of this $6 bag is this right here. All the accessories, well, not all of them, but a good majority of them, for the Jetfire figure. Very distinct red color. I like the weapon here. I think he actually used to shoot missiles. But I don't have any of those though. And I don't think it would work anymore, but still cool. The sticker book has been used, but there are a few still on there. But with the addition of these pieces, plus the Jetfire, picks up to a pretty good value on the figure overall. Probably, I would say, somewhere almost at 200 with what I have here and the figure itself. So, an amazing find, and the first bag for $6. Okay, everyone, so now we're going everything that was in the $5 bag, plus a few extras. So outside the bag, I picked up this Mego Superman. A little bit dirtier shape than I thought when I picked him up, but he's got his boots, and his suit is not ripped, it's just dirty. And unfortunately, he's got an issue with his leg under the knee. But I just picked him up because I couldn't leave a Mego behind. And I picked up this vintage dinosaur. A couple bucks. Because it reminds me of the dinosaurs I used to have growing up. But the majority of the bag is mostly Masters of the Universe. An assortment of accessories. Here's some more from the Castle Grayskull. And it's the first time I think I've ever come across the flag. That's pretty cool. And this is my first little mini comic. I've seen them before, but I've never come across one for a good price at an estate sale. And I'm not sure if this is actually Masters of the Universe, but it was in the bag. And I can't speak for these 2 vehicle type pieces. I can't tell what they are. But a little assortment here that I wouldn't mind spending $5 on. And 3 little extra figures too. I'm not sure who this military guy is, But we got a vintage Star Wars figure right here, and a straight arm Joe, which I'm real delicate with because he's about to fall apart. But all in all, I think a pretty awesome pickup for $5, 10, and 2. So 17 altogether. Okay, the very next day after this amazing estate sale, I went to the local flea market that the local antique shop puts on almost every few weeks now, it seems, where they invite vendors to come out to sell whatever they want. And I usually go first thing in the morning just to walk around, but I don't usually find many things that I'm looking for. But this particular day, I bumped into a vintage toy vendor who had amazing stuff, and he hooked me up. So shout out to Tim. I hope to do more business with you in the future, but on this particular sale, he hooked me up, but not one, two, but 3 figures from the Brave Star line. Now, I can honestly say I don't remember ever seeing these figures in any toy store around me. KB, Playland, Toys R Us, but I do remember the show, and it's still in the back of my mind the theme song about the bear, the puma, and the eagle. And it wasn't until later on that I realized there was a line that I missed out entirely. And I haven't actually seen a Brave Star figure under $20 in any of the shows I've gone to. But Mr. Tim hooked me up with these 3 for $15. I forget their names on top of my head. I know that Hex, if I'm not mistaken, and I know the bartender guy, and one of the villains. But I was so surprised to see these on a table at this flea market where I hadn't seen vintage toys in the past multiple years that I've gone to this flea market, mini flea market, I guess you might call it. And I wish I had footage, but given that I just kind of walk around, I didn't have my camera that day to record the second pickup Mr. Tim had at his table. From Mattel, the Captain Power line. Now, this was another show I remember watching, but not really coming across the figure line. I think I might have seen 1 or 2 figures from this show, and I remember thinking the live action mixed with the early CG was so amazingly well blended together for a children's show. It kind of had a post-apocalyptic Terminator look to it, but for kids. And I remember one of the amazing gimmicks of this toy line was the videos that would come with some of the toys, or you can find and interact with those tapes with your vehicles. And this was one of those vehicles that you could shoot and be shot at from your TV. So this is the PowerJet XT7. I'm going to show you later all that's in here. It's not fully complete, but look at this box. It is in amazing condition. Let me flip this around so you can see this in there. Take a look at that. Yeah, Mr. Tim had so much on his table that was amazing that I picked it up for great prices. He gave this to me for $15, and the Phantom Striker. So I went from not having really anything in my collection from this line, I think I might have one of the comic books, to having 2 boxed vehicles. These aren't sealed though, of course, but I've never seen one of these boxes before, and I wasn't going to pass up. You can see it on there. It talks about how you can interact with the tapes. I actually have one of the tapes, but I don't know if these jets will still work with the TVs that we have nowadays. I haven't tried it out, but let me know down in the comments what you think of that if you had these as a kid, because I remember the advertisements, mostly in comic books, of the main bad guy, I forget which one it was, shooting out of the screen and hitting your jet and your pilot kind of flying out. It was really neat. But yeah, pretty awesome mini flea market finds the day after that awesome estate sale. So I think Mr. Tim and I have another deal coming up for more Captain Power figures, so stay tuned. Okay, everyone, so here are the two Captain Power jets. The Phantom Striker, unfortunately, didn't have nothing else in the box with it, but we have all these instruction manuals for the Power jet. And looking at the directions, I know I'm missing the chair and the canopy for both of the jets, which was, I guess, the main piece that flew off of this thing whenever you lost the battle with the interactive tapes, which were also missing from the boxes. But I'm still happy to find these things in any kind of condition. They look really good with their decals. I know they're missing a few pieces here and there, but they're still awesome to see, considering I wasn't too familiar with this toy line, but I did like the show growing up. So if you have these, let me know. If it really worked as well as it did in the ads, I think I might have one of these interactive tapes I picked up somewhere along the way, but I have to find out if the battery compartments in these two things, because there are two of them each ship, see if they're salvageable, because I haven't looked at them yet. But still happy with finding these awesome pieces, especially with their boxes. So let me know if you used to have these down in the comments, and let me know what you thought of the deal on these awesome pieces. Okay, everyone, so that's all I got for you from the first weekend in 2026. There'll be several other videos that are going to catch up with everything else I've picked up since then. But I hope you liked the video. I hope you do me a favor in liking the video. And let me know down in the comments what you think of these amazing deals. Which one is your favorite? I know I have my personal favorites, and these will be amazing additions to my collection because I don't see myself letting go of any of this stuff. So if you like any of this toy stuff, I hope to see you down in the comments. I really love chatting with everybody who comments on my videos. Y'all make it well worth it. And if you're out there looking for the comic books, vintage toys, and video games, good luck out there and good hunting. Until next time, thanks for watching.